Hello, welcome back. This is my seventh video, seventh part of this fabulous circle disc that I'm making, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so this is just the progress. I haven't been working a whole lot on it, just little bits at the end of the day. I've been down in the city a lot, doing some necessary outdoor service work for various clients. So unfortunately, I can't really film that kind of stuff because it's on private residences and all, which is most of the work that we do. But for those that are new to watching my channel, welcome. And this is me. I'm the gentleman stonecutter, and this is what I do on the side, if you will. And right now I'm creating this disc. So this is a marble disc that I've been working on, and this is the seventh part of this series. So if you want to see me go back to the beginning of designing it and all the various stages, then you can. It's if you take interest in these kinds of things, then by all means check it out. It's it might be of some interest to you. And for those that are already following me, welcome back. Those that are just discovering me, but wait, those that happen to subscribe to my channel, now would be an excellent time to do so. I'd really appreciate it, and let's see if we can get those numbers up. Yeah, so this is what I'm doing now. So this is the next stage. I'm just working out the build up on the rim, continuing on with that. I've been working it all the way around, little by little. I've established a fillet, and this will be approximately the depth that I drop this back in height. So I'm going to drop this back probably about 3/16 of an inch. So just continuing on with refining these movements. Okay, so recently there was a question about what I was going to do with the finishing off of the outer edge, or how it was shaped. So what I'm going to do is I was just getting started with doing this, and I thought maybe I'd film that. But what I'm doing is I've scribbled on the outer line right here. That's the final line, and I'm just trimming it in place with a chisel. Right. So when I had mentioned in the comments to someone that when they were asking how I shaped the outer circle, and I had responded that I had cut it with an angle grinder, which I did, and to elaborate on that a little bit more, I used a carborundum blade, which is the standard blade of what we normally use. It's our preferred blade. It's a good multi-purpose blade. They're really cheap. They have some advantages over diamond blades because they're a little softer on the cut. Diamond blades, as though even though they're very robust and they're great for really hard materials, when it comes to universal cutting abilities, carborundum blades, uh, they're cleaner on the exit of the cut. So the diamond blade for sensitive materials will sometimes, the diamonds, because they're very hard and they're set into a metallic medium matrix, they don't have a lot of give, and they have a tendency to rip on their way out of the material as the blade spins around. So even though they're great in some ways, in other ways they can be your worst enemy. So you really need, any shop needs a good variety of blades, and our old go-to has always been the carborundum blade. And for those that aren't familiar with blade styles, they're the standard masonry abrasive cutting blade available at any building center in all different sizes and thicknesses. And they're good for all kinds of multi-purposes, cutting everything from cutting bricks and cement to much finer cuts. And they really are a very good quality blade for a lot of purposes. They're limited by the fact that the carborundum is bonded with resin, as opposed to in a steel matrix or a metal matrix. And that's the one downside to them, is that once the resin heats up, lets go of the carborundum crystals. And for those that aren't familiar with material hardnesses, carborundum is almost as hard as diamond. It's rated as a 9 or a 10 on the most hardness scale. So it's right up there with diamond. It's one of the hardest crystals on the planet. So that's why they're used for abrasive compounds, and they work very, very, very well. So that's what we use, and I'll maybe go into some further depth in the future about that if people are interested in what type of blades are used. It's an interesting topic. It's one that I hadn't really considered because you get kind of complacent and used to how you do things, and maybe it's sometimes hard to understand what people are interested in. But I guess yeah, it's a maybe an interest of some people's. For me, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if I'm using a diamond blade or a carborundum blade. You just adapt. If that's all that you have, then you work with what you've got. So diamonds definitely have their value for sure. There are some materials where there really isn't any other blade that you can use practically. I just recently finished off a quartz project in a natural quartz crystal, which is extremely hard. And yeah, that obviously it was a no-brainer. Diamond was the only kind of blade that was going to touch that stuff. Carborundum will only etch the surface, and then it burns itself out once it overheats. It will cut into it, but it's because it is still harder than the quartz, but just. And unfortunately, the resin is the failing point. So that's where you switch over to a diamond blade. But we're not limited to those exclusively. Over the years, you kind of assemble a large collection of variety of diamond blades or abrasive blades, cups. We call them. There's abrasive stones, which are like we call them rocks, but they're carborundum crystal cups. And there's other types, I'm sure, of abrasive compounds. You can even make your own, just bonding grits together with the resin. But yeah, I might cover that in the future. Making your own tools. Though it's not really necessary. It is something that if you can't get what you need, you can always make it. So that's how I'm refining this circle. And of course, this edge still gets dropped back by about, I think I'm going to drop it back about 3/16 of an inch. So it's going to be thinned out. And you can see I've dropped in a square fillet, or yeah, I've dropped in a square fillet, but roughly about the depth that I'll need. And so that's how it'll be reduced back this amount. And then I'll build up with an onyx bead in the center. I'll haven't worked out the final details as to what it'll look like, but that's the fun of it, right? You create as you go. You can see it's starting to develop the different stages of elevation. And so far, the epoxy that I've set this in seems to be holding out. It's not too hard, which I think was why it works. It's got just enough tack to bond things, but it's a little bit softer than some of the other epoxies that I've used in the past, which tend to become very brittle, almost glass-like. So it's a very subtle edge, and the difference with where this line is just ever so slight. And that's just down to, I mentioned in the other video about the process of refining marble work. It's all down to the subtleties. You tend to work surfaces on all sides as you go. You slowly tighten it up and tighten it up and tighten it up, and then you get there in the end. I'm just continuing on the transition. It's not some of the more exciting of work, but we'll see how it goes in the editing. Maybe I'll just speed things up and just do some kind of a montage to music or something like that.